China is a founding member of the United Nations with a permanent seat on the UN Security Council. In this episode of Panorama Africa, we take a look back at China's history with the organization and the Security Council and what that means for Africa today. An estimated 75 million people died in World War II. It remains the most devastating global conflict to date. With the promise to save future generations from the scourge of war, the victors of the battle, China, the United States, Great Britain, France and the former Soviet Union, invited world leaders to sign a peace treaty in the form of the UN Charter. The United Nations, as we know it, was officially born. The Charter established the principal organs of the UN, including the Security Council, whose primary responsibility is the maintenance of international peace and security. The body has 10 rotating members and 5 permanent members, the same allied countries who won the war. As international relations expert Victor Gao explains, this is an act of paying homage to history.
This structure is the result of the victory against Nazi Germany and imperialistic Japan and Italy in the Second World War. So this is based on bloodshed and sacrifices of these 5 allied countries in the Second World War. This historical heritage needs to be fully respected.
China's relationship with the UN took a turn in 1949 due to internal political events that shaped the current Chinese nation. The Communist Party of China won the Chinese Civil War and established the People's Republic of China, declaring itself the sole legitimate government of China. The Kuomintang, or Chinese National Party, retreated to the island of Taiwan. Even so, the UN retained its representatives in the UN and Security Council. The matter finally came down to a vote, and with the help of 26 African UN member states, the People's Republic of China finally resumed its place in the UN on the 25th of October, 1971.
Yes. Cameroon?
Yes.
United Kingdom?
Yes.
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 With the support of very important support from African countries and other countries in the world, China, that is the People's Republic of China, resumed its membership in the United Nations in 1971, not only in the General Assembly of the United Nations, but also, very importantly, in the Security Council of the United Nations.
I was director of the legal...
Former Tanzanian Prime Minister Joseph Sinde Warioba was present during this historic occasion.
I was in New York, and after the vote, there was jubilation. No, but it was an important occasion. For us, it was very important because our relationship with China was very good. China is one of the countries which helped us.
Africa has had a mixed relationship with the UN Security Council. Of the 30 sanctions regimes applied by the group to maintain or restore peace and security, 19 have been imposed on African countries, ranging from economic sanctions to arms embargoes, travel bans and commodity restrictions. Without a permanent seat at the UN Security Council, Africa has had to manage its affairs through non-permanent seats. The likes of Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria and South Africa have represented the continent at least twice each on the Council since 1966. But with Africa occupying so much of the Security Council's agenda, some argue that the continent deserves a permanent seat at the table.
Please raise their hand.
However, experts both in China and Africa agree that African nations do have a unique ally at the table in the form of China, the only developing country on the Security Council and the only country not to have pursued a colonial, imperialist or Cold War agenda with Africa.
If you talk about countries like Great Britain or France, they were imperialistic countries in Africa, each having more than dozens of colonies in Africa, leaving behind them a history of tragedy and exploitation, etc. For the United States, they had several hundred years of bad notorious history of enslaving African people, turning the Africans into slaves, this is truly a major tragedy for mankind and a crime against humanity. Whereas for China, as far as China is concerned, there has never been any institutional discrimination against Africans or against people of color. And this is very important. And this makes China a very unique country among the 5 permanent member states of the Security Council of the United Nations. And this also has made sure that China can rise up on the occasion and defend the fundamental interests of the African countries as a whole and promoting peace and stability in Africa without any hesitation and without any liability and without any skeleton in its closet.
In Africa, we were preoccupied with winning our freedom. The independence movement, which started in the 50s, intensified in the 60s and 70s, that was the preoccupation of Africa. And during that time, China was one of the countries which really assisted the freedom movements in Africa, whether by training or providing the material in order to gain independence. China played a vital role in that one.
Today, China continues to play an important role in Africa. China is the second biggest contributor of funds to the UN's peacekeeping operations and provides more peacekeeping personnel than any other permanent member of the Security Council. In May this year, at a UN Security Council open debate on peace and security in Africa, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi called for continued support for African countries in seeking African solutions for African problems. Furthermore, he called on the Security Council to actively provide peacekeeping funds for Africa, support the AU's peace operations, and help Africa enhance its capacity for peacekeeping, stability maintenance, and counterterrorism. Beyond security, China and Africa have proven to be strong partners, cooperating in many different fields, from trade and infrastructure to education, health and culture.
Now the emphasis was on economic cooperation and other important issues of international concern. And China has done that, is still cooperating with the African countries, with the developing countries, in order to develop. And as I said, we cooperate without any threats, without any pressure.
The litmus test as far as China is concerned as a permanent member state of the United Nations is that on the one hand, we want to avoid any interference in domestic or internal affair of any sovereign country in Africa. On the other hand, we want to make sure that sufferings and turmoil and instability, wars, etc., can be contained and losses of life can be minimized, if not brought down to zero.
African soldiers did contribute to the war efforts that inspired the emergence of the United Nations. But countries around the continent often feel marginalized when it comes to decision-making on global matters. But the efforts of friendly and powerful nations on the Security Council, like China, have helped the continent make landmark achievements. The African Union and other regional bodies are now at the forefront of seeking local solutions to local challenges, better placing the continent in a position to apply the rule of law and chart its collective economic and social agenda. After all, it is our world. Lindy Mtongana, CGTN, Nairobi, Kenya.